We're live. Please check
Yes,
the
I
origination.
think so.
Oh, that's really weird. There's a delay. I can see myself.
Hello, beautiful people. What's up? Nice that you are joining. Hello, hello. Oh no.
Whoa.
I hope that our camera equipment is not doing weird things.
We're getting like a crazy repeat.
Oh no. Shall we stop it?
Yeah, something's weird. Let's ask here. That's someone.
Oh no. I think it's the camera. Shall we do the other camera?
We might have to resort to it, yeah. Has it gone all wacky?
Yeah.
Let's try again on the
Shit.
OBS thing.
Technical.
Yeah, it's like looping and weird.
What shall we do?
Let's see on here again.
Shall we do stop stream?
Maybe. It looks so crazy. FaceTime HD. HD webcam.
Shall we try this one? Just to see.
I think that's the...
We'll try this one. Okay, let's see.
Oh, it's all blurry.
Is it better now?
I don't know. I think we're still on the other one.
Yeah, maybe.
Let's re-end this and restart.
But I think that then people maybe can't join anymore. Oh my god. Should we do end stream?
Or maybe now it's working. I can't tell
Is
from the delay. No, I think that's
It looks like it's maybe working.
what? Yeah?
Yeah. Can you see us and hear us? Hello, hello, hello. Okay, it looks like there's a little delay. Oh, it looks so ugly. Okay, let's try the webcam again.
Actually, it kind of caught up with itself. It's looped a bit.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, guys. Sorry. Maybe we'll ask Anna, how is the video and sound? Yeah, hi guys. Sorry, we have like technical problems. Our webcam is like not working really well. So yeah, we just had to like change it. But
we
Anilot says I can see and hear you fine. That's awesome. I think we are like in a bit delayed.
Yeah. I think you might see some weird stuff happen. You might see a different camera and then another camera and then the pink color. And
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's all fine. Yeah, it's so cool that you guys are joining us today. We're gonna answer some questions that my clients have handed in and friends have handed in all around the completion process, but also around parts work, relationships, and in general, kind of like all stuff, awakening, shadow work. Yeah, and I'm really excited. And maybe before we start, I wanted to show you guys something cool. Oh, Anilot says there's some lag.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Like a minute or something.
Sorry for that. So, I don't know if you guys have ever done the vision boards, but it's like something that we started doing, and this is Matt once, and I find it so nice. It's so mega beautiful.
It's very cool.
Yes.
I mean, this was about a year ago I made this now.
Yeah.
But it's still super nice.
Oh, we love it. You did such a great job there. Letting your soft side show makes you a stronger man.
Very cool.
Exactly. No, we're gonna show mine later.
Alright.
It's gonna be your goodie at the end. Okay, let's have a little bit more. Okay, awesome. So I would say we're gonna dive right in and we're gonna have the first question from Carrie.
Cool. So I'm going to ask these questions. Let's see them. So, a question from Carrie. She says, "What's the time frame around reintegration of a part?"
Exactly. So what she's referring to is we all have different aspects of our personality, different parts. So that means that our consciousness is split in many, many different personalities. It happens because when we get socialized, we get shamed for different parts of us. And basically the parts that we are very ashamed of, we try to suppress, we try to pretend that they are not here. And then these kind of like, it's almost like alter egos are created. And in your daily life, you can notice this, that, for example, when you spend time with your mother, or when you spend time at work, or when you're at home, when you're with your girlfriend in the bar, you're always like different kinds of people, basically. You know, you immediately have different feelings, you have different reactions. For example, maybe with your friends, you are like, for example, you can really stand up for yourself and you're really good at making your point. But then when you're at work, suddenly you can't say anything anymore. It's like you're totally stuck and you can't, you're not the same person. And you're like wondering, oh, why is that? And that's exactly what we mean when we say with different parts. And when we are stuck in life, we call it reintegrate the part. That means we make them conscious and we kind of like make them more like we bring them closer to us. And when we make them conscious, we can access their potentials and their positive traits. And plus, we can also let go of a lot of shame. And that it usually feels really, really good. It feels like a reuniting. Yeah, so Carrie asks, what's the time frame? And I think that this question like shows a lot how we view healing. You know, like we view healing as something that has to happen fast and has to happen now. And I think that, like, first of all, you cannot put a finger on it because the integration, for the integration to happen, you really need to be aware of everything, like the reasons why that part split off in the first place. And it could be sometimes that there is such deep truth, like hidden in the part. There's such deep truths that you need to discover. But actually, the beautiful thing about it is that the journey of integrating the part itself like brings you so much further along that in the end it doesn't matter how integrated that part is, because along the way like you learn so many things. So I would really encourage you to do every day a little bit, and the more you feel this integration, the more beautiful it is. And you don't really need to have like an end goal there. And I know that it's really hard because sometimes like we suffer a lot. But I do believe that, yeah, that's the way to go, basically.
Cool.
What do you think about that?
Yeah. This is it. Slowly. Yeah. Start seeing what happens and be easy with it, I guess.
Yeah, I think so too. And yeah, I know that sometimes we want to really, really rush everything. But yeah, like I have seen in my experience, it can happen in one session, you know, that a part integrates. It could also be that it's many, many months and sometimes even years. Because also sometimes we are really ashamed of a part, or we really don't like a part. And that's actually the best tip that I can give you guys. Like, see in every way possible that you can get to know this part and that you can have empathy for it. And in the end, that you like find the good intention. Because every part, even if you think like, you know, this part is lazy and it stops me from working, it stops me from my career, or that part is so shy, it stops me from connecting with people. That part has a really good intention why it's behaving that way. And they always want to protect you. They always love you. And that is like the most important thing that you, and I know that it sounds really hard, and that's why you really need to get into and do this work, because then you realize at some point that they always love you and that nothing in you like hates you actually. But when you like have this experience, like, oh my God, it is so beautiful because, yeah. I mean, it's so nice, isn't it?
Definitely.
Cool. Yeah. Hi, guys. If you have joined, please say hi to us. We have a bit of a delay, so we don't really know what's going on too much. But yeah, if you would just tell us that you're here, it would be super beautiful. And maybe you can also give us a little bit of feedback how the sound is. And
Yeah.
video.
The video. So we're a
Yeah.
bit confused. It's a bit
Yeah.
off.
We're gonna have met a bit more in the sometime. Cool. I would say next question.
Okay, another question is from Amelia. She says, is it possible to heal from any dysfunctional style of relationship outside of relationships? What happens if you have no one in your life that can help you heal that?
Yeah, I think that is such a big problem, and I feel really, really bad for like so many people, because safe relationships is literally like such an important thing, because most of our trauma, or all of our trauma, actually happened in relationships. We are traumatized because we are in a group, and then we always try to adapt our behavior so that the group likes us, right? Like, this is our survival mechanism as a social species. Like, as a baby, if your parents don't care for you or the people around you, you'll die. So you do everything. So basically, you always get traumatized in relationships. And the antidote to healing that is healing in relationships. But what happens if you don't have those people around you? So what I would suggest is that you try to find one relationship, one safe relationship. And of course, one way to do that is to have like a therapist or a practitioner, where you basically can do healing work, and you train yourself like, how does that even feel like? Because one blockage that we have of finding a safe relationship is that we often don't even know what it is, and how can we like attract something, how can we create something if we don't know what it is? So that would be like my number one suggestion. And also, not every practitioner, not every therapist is necessarily a safe relationship. So you have to be really, really careful, and really like listen to your intuition, what that person can be. And then the best thing would be to have a really long relationship, and you train things with them. And then with that practitioner or therapist, your first goal could be to get your vibration up, to heal your trauma so much that you find another safe relationship, a friend or a partner or someone. And with that person, when you have found that person, then the real healing work begins. Like, guys, we always have this thing that we think, oh, when I have my perfect partner, then everything will be beautiful. But since I'm together with Matt, actually, my journey has started. I mean, I'm super grateful to have you, because he is like putting this beautiful container around me that I can actually access all those deep traumas and those deep emotions I have. So we're so grateful for that, but it doesn't mean that suddenly everything's fine. Like, rather the opposite. Our triggers are coming up more, actually.
Yeah. But we have this safe space so we can work through them much better.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's an important point, I think.
Yeah, it is an important point. And that's actually also what I would like to teach in the next years, to have relationships where we can do that, to enable each other, to do completion process on each other, to do parts work with each other. Not only will this help you like so much in your expansion and healing together and in your relationship growth, but also, my God, you get to know each other like so well. You develop such an incredible trust, and of course, the relationships gets better and better and better, because the only thing that stops you from having a relationship with a compatible partner are your traumas, because everyone wants to be close and connected. Like my kids do this so naturally, but because of all our traumas, we are so afraid, and we can't trust anymore, and we can't. We often like love in a very dysfunctional way, actually. So, yeah, guys, please say hi to us. I would love to know who's here, how you're doing, what's up. And I think I want to turn off we have R2D2, we call him. Is our little robot friend. He's dehumidifying our air.
It sounds more fancy than it is. It's dehumidifier. It does not have little wheels and doesn't just like go around our apartment. And maybe I'll do that.
How do you say it in English? R2D2?
R2D2.
R2D2.
The robot from Star Wars.
Oh, he's so cute.
question.
Yes.
Okay, this is from Lindsay. She says, what if you can't handle the emotion? So I'm not taking the piss, just a little bit.
No, we're not taking the piss. Yeah, what if you can't handle the emotion? So, oh, sorry, before that, Angela says, same for me and my husband. I could only really get into deep layers of trauma after I felt safe in my relationship. He holds a very steady and safe container for me. It is awesome and intense. Oh,
yeah, cool. Thanks
we're
for
so
sharing.
happy.
Yeah, really nice.
That's beautiful. Yeah, that's really, really cool.
That's really the same as we found, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. Because often, like, I mean, you in your journey, you often, like, in CPs, you get really scared. Like, it can be super scary because, yeah, like, all our lives we learn to escape from emotion and to escape from trauma, and suddenly we should go back. Like, that feels so super scary, especially if we are traumatized also around safety and other people helping us, I guess.
Yeah.
And that is actually super connected to the connection about, to the question about what if you can't handle the emotion. So, first of all, you will not die. You won't die because of emotions. That's not gonna happen. You are absolutely capable of holding every emotion, but as I said, I can really understand why it feels super super scary. So what I would advise you is actually also the same as before, get a safe therapist or practitioner, and maybe before even doing CPs, only do emotional vipassana. Emotional vipassana is like the first step in the completion process, where we only feel emotions, and you feel the emotions on a physical level. So instead of, like, labeling them and saying, oh, I feel anxious or I feel sad, you say, oh, I feel like a sharp pain in my belly. I feel like my whole body is really, really tense. And then you focus your attention on that and you just let the emotion, like, wash through you. And if you train this for a while, and if you have someone with you, who says, hey, I'm here with you, I'm here. Like, you're not alone, you're not gonna, like, vanish and will get lost in the emotion. Like, I'm here to hold space around you. I think that can start to feel really, really safe. And then maybe you can let yourself more and more go into the emotion, and from there then, because CP unfortunately works the most if you can really access the original emotions you felt in the trauma, and these are usually very heavy, because emotions, I mean, we have such a bad view of them, but actually they have such a beautiful function because they make you able to, when you experience something with a lot of contrast, like a situation that is really, really, that is really bad for you, like, they make you feel it and move through it. And if we wouldn't have this block, if we would get taught as children how to feel emotions, it wouldn't be so bad, because it's basically like a storm. Like, you feel it, pum, and then it's gone. Because we don't feel it, because we disassociate and disconnect, that's actually where the trauma is happening. Like, that's maybe also something that people often don't understand, is that trauma is not what happens through you. Trauma is what happens inside you because of what happened to you. So let's say you get shamed. Like, a typical trauma is you get shamed because you're 4 years old and because you steal a lolly in the supermarket, and your mom says, oh, you are a bad girl, a bad person, right? That's like direct shaming. You should never do this to a child. You should always say the action and not to the person. You feel shame. If you would just feel whatever comes up, probably first it's anger, then it's sadness, and if you would move totally through it, it wouldn't be a trauma. But because you don't do this, because it feels really scary to feel this, and also I think you rather try to push yourself away instead of maybe then being angry to your mom, and then your mom pushes you away. You disassociate, and then a trauma happens. A trauma happens when you don't move fully through the emotion. So, for example, if you have kids, you can actually support them not being traumatized by teaching them how to move through an emotion. And Mandy J, like, she's a super cool friend of mine. She's a gentle parent, and she explained exactly how to deal with your kids' emotions, especially even if you have upset them. If you don't lie something to your kid and then they get emotional, you can still help them to process the emotion. And I think that's so beautiful, and I definitely want to do this with my kid. And like, not only you don't traumatize them, but also you teach them how to deal with their emotions, which is like such a gift to give to them. Yeah. Like, I want to have a kid that is like so freely expressing and just screaming and crying and just exploding like a volcano. Oh, it would be so beautiful. Yeah, I would really love that. So Nicola says hi, hello, nice to see you. The sound and video quality is good. Thank you very much, Nicola. Beautiful to have you. And everyone else who's here, please say hi. Cool. Okay, are you guys ready for the next question? Also, little disclaimer, if you cheer him up, maybe Matty will take his shirt off later.
He's just stop saying this. This is not what I'm here for. I'm here to independently ask these questions from my independent panel of question makers. My clothes stay on.
Okay, next question. I'm ready.
Alright. So, this is from Monica. Why are wounds between 0 to 3 years old the most severe?
Okay. Thank you for this beautiful question, Monica. Okay, so from the womb until 7 years old, our traumatization happens. So whatever you experience during that time that traumatizes you is basically the base trauma for everything else that happens. That's why we in completion process, when we go back to a memory, we never go into a memory when someone is 14 or 12 or 20. We always try to go below 7 years old, and the younger the better, actually, because all traumas that happens after 7 years old, even for example a car accident, are actually just, how can you say it, like accumulations of the original trauma, because basically your whole system wants to integrate, your whole system wants to become whole. So when there's a trauma that is not resolved when you're 5 years old, you experience something with 8, 10, 15, that reminds you and that puts your attention towards this trauma, and basically your being creates more severe and more severe and more severe situations to tell you like, hey, there's a trauma. And of course, like, I mean, this is so horrible, like this is a horrible way, but that's basically how life is set up. And so, yeah, so that's the first thing. And so Monica asks, why are the wounds then between 0 and 3? Because I told her this the other time. So basically, the imprint is stronger the younger you are. When you are in the womb or when you're born, you are like a white canvas, you're a white canvas, and you are super, super sensitive. And you get basically imprinted so quickly with all kinds of stuff. Like, there is people that are so traumatized in the womb because their mother didn't want them. And Teal said that even the mom sends out like hormones that kind of like poison the baby. And I could imagine that a baby can feel absolutely if their mom, or maybe a part of their mom, doesn't want it, And so the reason why the younger you are, the more severe it is, because you are much more sensitive. You can even see it on a physical level, the baby, when it's just born, it's just like a little, you feel like, oh my gosh, if I drop this baby, it can just get hurt so easily. And it's the same on an emotional level. And yeah, and that's why, unfortunately, the younger you are, the more severe the trauma is. And one really, really good scientist and physician I can recommend you there is Gabor Mate. He talks about this a lot. He has really, really good interviews where he explains really scientifically like why that is. And he also, what he always says to parents, and I think that is actually such a nice thing, and we talked about this a lot, he said to him, guys, you can think of educating and raising children like this. Put your whole focus on the first 3 years. On the first 3 years, really try to make like the kid as comfortable as possible, work on yourself, become more conscious about your patterns, like try to reduce your stress as much as possible, like work as less as possible, and then you already have set up the kid for a really good life. The first 3 years, then the next 4 years, you already try to reduce your stress and everything, and after 7 years, basically, you can chill down a little bit, because if you do a really good job in the first 7 years, afterwards it's gonna be quite much more relaxed, because everything which comes out, especially teenage years, in my opinion, are all related to childhood trauma, because then the person becomes more conscious, and like they basically become conscious of how fucked up their family is. And then, and people are always like, oh, the hormones or whatever, or I think that teenagers really start to, on one level, see what's actually happening, and that things are not so cool as they always were pretended to. Yeah. Okay. That was a really good question.
It's a very good question. Okay, let's see. So here's a question from Lee. How do I know that I'm attracted to pain, or that my pain still needs presence? There's a background story here. I'll read out the background story. So I've been practicing being present with the same pain for a long time, and I did not take action to shift things until I feel better. But it never gets anywhere, no matter how long I be present with it. Am I just stuck in a healing trap where I'm attached to it and try to escape from it at the same time? So the question was, how do I know that I'm attached to pain, or that my pain still needs presence?
Yeah, exactly. So what Lee is talking about is, like, sometimes what happens is that we are basically on one level, we feel safe feeling pain. We feel safe feeling pain because that's what our whole life was all the time. It is pain. Like, pain is basically our normal, our default state. And so what I've realized in my own life is that a part of me, like, feels really, really unworthy. A part of me feels like a bad person, and for me it was imprinted because of Catholic upbringing. Like the whole, like, shame is such a big part of Christianity and or Christian church, and Catholicism is shame. So a part of me feels like such a bad person, just on a fundamental level, so that I feel I think if I feel pain, I actually feel better on a level, because at least I'm kind of like, I'm not enjoying my life because I'm such a bad person, And that, like, for me, I mean, this is so horrible to think about, because of course, part of me is like, oh my gosh, Veronica, you're a beautiful person, like, you have all these gifts, you're a nice person, like, you don't deserve to feel like this about yourself. But yeah, I'm doing this, and this is because of my trauma. And so that's what he's talking about. And yeah, and so it could be that we are really attached to the pain, because basically the what's going on in us is that if we feel pain, then I can still be a good person, Like, how can I feel good if I'm such a bad person? So we're basically punishing ourselves. Yeah. So he says, how do I know that I'm attached to pain, or that my pain still needs presence? The other thing is, of course, what we teach, or what Teal teaches, is that be present with your pain. Maybe the reason why your pain is still there is because you just need to feel it. So how do we know if we're attached to it or if we feel it? So I think the best way to finding out about this is to look into your shame and look into how you really feel about yourself. Because if you have one part or more parts that actually feel like you are a very bad person, the chances are high that you are indulging in this endurism. But also, it's not a bad thing. This was really your survival strategy. So I would also encourage you to not feel shame about being like this. And I think that probably it will be both things for a long time. I don't think that this is something that you can just let go of like this. I think it is a very long healing process, because shame is like the worst imprint you can have. Shame is the worst. So what I would encourage you is to practice both. Practice a little bit feeling your pain, but then also after a while get out of the pain and do some self-love practices, because self-love practices would be like an antidote to endurism, so that you do it like this, and then you can hopefully both integrate. But I send you lots of love, because I know how hard that is, and it's a really horrible state to be in. Okay, so there was another question from Julie. She says, hi, is that the reason why when we are in a safer place in our life, the emotions of the trauma come out?
I think this popped up a while ago. There's quite a lag on our feed, so
there's something. No,
I'm not too sure what part that's related to.
No, sure. But I think she says, I think maybe she talks about the relationships. That could be imagined.
Yeah.
Do you mean like when you are in a safe relationship that then the emotions of the trauma come out? Yeah, that's exactly what it is, because like basically, sometimes I have clients. So one thing that actually I find sometimes can really stop us from healing is when you live with your parents for a long time. And this is not to shame parents, but just because our main trauma has happened in our parent relationship, if they were conscious or not, and like when you then are at home, sometimes you are so triggered. You're triggered like 24/7. And then to go into like CP or to do practices, because this is all these practices, you really have to face these shadows. Like, let's say you face these shadows and you really are, you do a session where you realize like how much your mom or your dad has hurt you. Like living at home can, first of all, be really, really hard, because you have to interact with them then the next time, and then maybe you start a fight or whatever. But also sometimes it can feel so unsafe at home that you can't even access these deep emotions. So that's why actually I would always encourage people that when they feel like at home is not the best place, then don't do shadow work. Like wait until you are in a position where you can move out, and concentrate more on self-loving practices. Like, but that is exactly the reason why in a safe relationship then you can access the deep emotions, because it feels safe. You have someone to hold you through this. You have someone because you extra much need someone to tell you how much they love you and how much they are there for you, because there's a reason why you suppress things in your daily life, right? Because you can't function. It means literally like shadow work sometimes feels a bit like you let yourself be physically sick for a while. You come a bit incapable. Sometimes you turn into a child again, and then you need love and care.
Yes, very much.
Exactly. So thanks, Julie, for the question.
Okay.
How are all of you guys doing this Sunday? Did you have a nice weekend? Let us know.
Yeah. Where are you guys calling from? Where are you? We were in Amsterdam, and what time is it? 5:30 Sunday. Yeah, pretty cold here today.
Already dark outside.
Yeah, dark.
Why?
Yeah.
Why?
All right. You ready for another one?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay. Let's see. How do you know that a relationship/attraction is conscious and based on love rather than old trauma patterns? Ooh,
this is a juicy question. This is a very juicy question.
It's a juicy question.
So, I think that this is one of the most important things we need to learn, is how to understand if a partner our possible partner we come across is, if we are attracting from an old trauma, or that we are actually compatible with them, and that we actually, like, there's a potential for a really deep connection. So what we mean by trauma relationship is that you, in your life, when you're not very conscious of your trauma, maybe, you will attract a partner and look for a partner that mirrors this trauma back to you. So, for example, what happens a lot is that you attract a partner that is like the parent you had the most problems with in your childhood. So I always had partners that were like my dad, very emotionally unavailable, and I basically tried to heal my relationship with him through having the guys that were super similar. Exactly. It never worked out. It was really horrible. Like, I was feeling for a long time of my life like so unsafe. I didn't even know it. Like, I had no idea what real connection was. And like now it's so weird for me because I'm a person, I need close connection and communication, especially, like so much, like so much is ridiculous, right? I mean,
well, not ridiculous. I mean,
no, but I mean, you like how it is. Like, I just need someone to really talk to me the whole time, and I always had partners that couldn't talk about feelings. It's actually so crazy. Yeah, exactly. And so the kind of like the, how do you say it, the symptoms or the signs that you are in this trauma relationship is that the relationship usually feels very dramatic. Very dramatic. It feels dramatic. So you feel you are longing for this person. You want them. It's like you feel like, oh my God, he's my twin flame, or she's my twin flame, and you just feel like you can't live without them, and that they will make your life better. But at the same time, and then you also maybe have times where everything's amazing and it's kind of like a dream. But then very shortly afterwards, you suddenly feel like this weird drop, and you feel like, oh, that person's not how I thought they were. And I think a part of you always feels like very fast, like betrayed by them or something, or you desperately want them to change them, or you feel like, oh my gosh, it would be perfect if that person didn't have this one trait or something. But then, of course, also some trauma relationships actually get violent, if our trauma is about violence. And I actually had one relationship that was quite emotionally abusive, and I was crying like almost like every second day or something, and looking back at it, I'm like, oh my gosh, like what happened, like how could I ever put myself in that position? But I was just like so many people, so desperate for connection, and there's nothing wrong with it because we need connection, so this is not about shaming anyone for wanting a relationship. That's not what I'm saying. But of course the problem is when you have a trauma relationship, things don't get better. A lot of people are in this constant loop of fighting, making up, and then maybe they get a baby or something, because they actually feel really bad in their relationship, and that makes everything worse. And you can't heal together. And so so the signs of a connection relationship, a relationship that's really based on mutual love, everything feels really safe and calm. Yeah, everything feels safe and calm. You feel like you can 100% be yourself with that other person, and you feel like you can really count on the other person, and that, sometimes they annoy you, sometimes you want to change some parts of them, but I think fundamentally you feel that you and them are like okay the way they are together. Yeah. Would you add something?
Yeah, like I'm agreeing with these points, definitely.
Yeah.
I think maybe it's important to say as well, like me and Fernie do argue, and like that's a very normal kind of thing as well.
Yes.
Just to say, I mean, this is maybe stating the obvious, but yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this is like this is important as well.
Yeah, exactly.
But always, if we're arguing fundamentally, I never want to change Fernie. I never want to.
And I think we most of it, like, we don't try to shame each other into changing, and because what happens with a trauma relationship often is because the next question I think is about compatibility, and like how you can basically find out how a person is really compatible to you, because that's the most important thing, like often trauma relationships are so incompatible to you because the only reason why you're attracted to them is because they mirror these aspects. And if you would have healed this trauma, that person would never in your whole life be attractive to you, because there would be no point of attraction. So look for a partner that is compatible with you, compatible in their values, how in their lifestyle, how they want to, what they want from life, their goals, their dreams, all these things. And especially, and this is actually like a super gold nugget that I can tell you, look for a partner that gets enjoyment out of giving you what you need. Get a partner that finds enjoyment out of giving you what you need.
Sounds like codependence.
Huh?
Codependence.
No. That's not what I mean at all. What I mean is that, like, for example, you love cooking for me because cooking makes you feel a certain way. How does it make you feel when you cook?
I feel like creative, excited. I feel, yeah, like just nice, good.
I think you have a sense of caring for me. Even masculinity is a bit in this.
Or when I'm actually, when I'm giving food for you. Yeah, definitely.
Exactly.
Definitely.
So cooking for me is something that you get enjoyment out of. And I love you cooking for me. It's a very simple example. Like for me, it makes me feel like I'm taken care of. Food was always very important for me, like as a symbol of love. I find cooking also really exhausting. So this act, and he enjoys doing it, and I enjoy taking it, and that is perfect. Same way, like I love to support people in their healing. I have this super shamanic part of me, I call it my inner priestess. I have such a good connection to the divine, and I have super crazy intuition. I love to guide people through completion process, parts work. This is where I thrive because I just do it. Like I don't know how I do it. It's just one of my skills and talents. Matt loves it when I do this with him. You like he likes to take advice, which I never had a boyfriend that actually likes my advice. You know what I mean? All this kind of stuff. Like you really enjoy that, and I enjoy giving it, and that's what I mean with it. Look for a partner that loves giving you what you need. And this is such a simple recipe, and I never thought about it, but it is actually possible. Like if you look for someone, do you know what I mean? It makes so much sense. And for example, like you and me, I mean, we are aligned in almost all areas of our life. We want completely the same things, and that is beautiful, you know. And we still have like contrast that everything stays exciting, but I think this is a very practical reason why our relationship is so good. Because if you constantly want different things, like if I would have a boyfriend that would find spirituality like super dumb, honestly, even if I would love him so much, I couldn't, because this is my whole life, you know? This is like my passion in my life.
Yeah. I think really like at your core, your kind of core beliefs, that they really need to be aligned, I would say. Yeah. So you can be interested in like different things, of course, but yeah, the core parts are definitely important.
Yeah. So I have a question for you guys. First of all, if you enjoyed this, please give me a thumbs up. It would super help me in my channel. And second of all, what do you guys think about compatibility? Have you thought about it this way? Like that giving something what your partner... do you know what I mean? What I just said. What do you think about this? Would be interesting for me. Cool. And has another comment. Anna says, I used to date guys like my mom, emotionally unavailable and unreliable. When I saw this pattern, I could work with it. Then after months, I met my husband and he felt so familiar. He felt like home. Yes!
That's sweet.
That's exactly how it was with me. Like, exactly. And I think Teal said it in her video as well. Like, for me, it was first super weird with Matt because I thought, oh my gosh, that's like not really, I can't be together with him because I didn't find this crazy attraction that I always found. But I felt so comfortable with him. I just felt like, oh my god, I can trust this guy. And for me, safety was always the biggest issue because I was emotionally always really unsafe because people in my environment were very unattuned to me, you know? And Matt suddenly, like, oh my gosh, honestly, he notices in 1 second when I shift and he's like, oh, Veronica, what are you feeling? And I'm like, what? Like, it's so safe. And at first I thought, oh, that's not a good relationship. But luckily, after some months, I came around and now, like, I'm so happy. I could never be more happy with another guy because it's just the best thing ever, you know, when you feel really safe with someone, and we still have so much fun and it's excitement and you constantly develop, and it's great.
That's sweet.
Anil says, he loves to see me shine and thrive. It makes him happy to provide for me. Yes! Oh, I think that's...
He's a cool man.
And I think that's another really good point. Like, if your guy or if your partner loves to see you thrive, and I think that's also a sign for a trauma relationship. If the person is constantly jealous towards you, or if that person does not really like it when things in your life go well, it's a trauma relationship for sure. And yeah, you should really, like, I think this is one of the most important things. Like, your partner should really be supportive for you. I can't even imagine how people do this. Like, sometimes I meet couples and you feel like they are in a constant war, and I feel so sorry, because how can you? I mean, I find life hard enough. I find our world is so hard. You know, when I step outside, I kind of like have to brace myself and be okay. Now, you know, I'm gonna step out and do this thing. But when I come home, like, this is my sanctuary. I need someone to be there for me and to really be on my side and to, like, be my fan, you know, and support me.
Yeah. Sweet.
Fanboy Maddie.
Fanboy. Yeah, I'm seeing here. I'm interested. I've just seen electromanticism. And is this a picture of praying mantis? I think so. If it is, I used to have a praying mantis as a pet. Funny fact. Do you know I had a praying mantis pet?
No, I don't know. Oh. I don't even know what that is.
They're like an insect. Yeah, and it died. So maybe give me some tips, electromantis, on how to keep them as pets. Just stopping by for a second. Cool.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I think it's Craig. I think so. I could imagine it. So yeah, hi. Cool that you're here.
Cool.
Oh, Anna says, love seeing you guys. Really dig your vibe. Oh, thank you for being here. I love your beautiful input. We would love to see your men sometime as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Next question.
Okay, next question. Let's see. I'm going to skip and go down to the bottom. What do you do if you're crying and it just doesn't stop? Yeah, it's a good question. I actually had this experience about a week ago. I was crying, like, very, very heavily, and I was feeling like it was never going to stop. And it was pretty scary. It was maybe the first time I've had this feeling that, yeah, I felt like it was not going to go away. Like I was going to be stuck in this sort of sad feeling forever. So yeah, but Veroni got me out of it, so I'm sure she's got some advice.
But did I get you out of it?
Well, you helped me through it. You supported me. You were there for me, and it felt very nice.
Exactly. But it stopped.
Yeah.
By itself. We did not force it, or we did not try to make you feel better, or, you know, shift your focus.
Yeah.
It's very natural. Yeah. So crying is a release. Crying is a very natural release, and it's actually, like, so unhealthy that we try to not cry. It's like the most unhealthiest thing. It's the same with releasing anger. You know, it's energy that gets released by doing that. And so I think that sometimes the way we live right now is that we repress feelings so much, and we have so many traumas that sometimes it happens that when we kind of, like, open the portal to the emotions, that a lot comes out, you know. And I have this, like, I work a lot with my anger. Sometimes I feel like every day I'm angry, you know, and I feel like it will just never stop. But I think it's just because for a long time I have suppressed, like, so much anger, so that my anger tank is so full, it's almost like exploding. So, and with tears, it can be the same thing. So I would encourage you, keep on crying and just let it flow, like, cry as much as you can. And for example, what you could actually do is, for example, go to a Vipassana retreat. Like, Vipassana is like the oldest meditation form. It was invented by Buddha, and they have these 10-day retreats where you basically just meditate and you don't speak to anyone and stuff. And there people actually go to cry for days and days and days. And there you, like, nobody, because, okay, in your daily life, I can really understand, especially if you go to work, that's really weird. But that you find a space where you can just do that. And I would really encourage you, because imagine, like, how good it feels afterwards. like is all this release because this energy. And what does the stuck energy do in your body if it's just stuck? You know, I think it makes you sick. And I would feel really, yeah. And then I hope for you that maybe you have someone to cry with you, you know, and to hold you in that time. But yeah, I would always say, like, let it flow, and be okay with not being okay, even if that's shitty. But yeah, I send you a lot of love.
Okay, let's see. There's quite a long question here from Nicola. Let's see. She says, I've already watched your videos on abandonment and enmeshment trauma and found myself in both of them. So is it possible to have a combination of those two traumas and how to approach it? Because they seem quite contradictory in nature. Like, I don't want to be alone, but I don't want to be suffocated by other person's wants and needs. And I don't do a very good job balancing meeting my needs and the needs of the person I'm with.
First of all, she used the word balancing. Teal's absolute hate word is a balance.
It's not a bad word.
Huh?
I'm going to disagree. It's an okay word to use.
Watch the video of Teal. Fuck balance. It's so beautiful. She basically describes how balancing does not work. You need to integrate.
But that, yeah, that's kind of a similar thing.
Yeah, it's not a similar thing. It's a very different feel. Like, feel into balance, how that feels, and feel integration, how that feels. Mm-hmm. To me, it feels really like, yeah. But yeah, so she asks, can you both have enmeshment and abandonment trauma? So just quickly, abandonment trauma is when your caregiver or someone is not spending time with you, not giving you attention, not fulfilling your emotional needs. And enmeshment is when someone does not let you be yourself, when someone is coming into your room without announcement, telling you what to wear, telling you what to eat. And we call it, like, abandonment trauma is like a outgoing boundary violation. So not enough good things are being done to you. And enmeshment is an ingoing boundary violation. So your space is being invaded, and your personal wishes are not being accepted. And yes, and so actually in a lot of households it happens that we are both enmeshed and abandoned. I would say that it is actually, like, so common that both of these things happen. So I think very classically it happens that we get enmeshed by our mother and then we get abandoned by our father, you know. Like, so many dads have not been there for the children, actually, because they work so much, because they can't connect with you emotionally, and sometimes even because they're not even here, you know. Like, a lot of single parent households are single moms, you know. So all of this is abandonment. And at the same time, what moms are often doing, and what often we do not even understand, because in this situation often the mom is kind of like the holy person, you know, the person that we feel like loves us so much. For example, in my life it was that my mom always forced me to be nice to everyone, you know, and I didn't want it to, and that actually felt so horrible to me. Or my mom was talking with me about her relationship problems with my dad, which is absolute enmeshment. Like, parents should never do that. It feels horrible for the kid because they are in between. Or other things how you can enmesh is that moms for a very long time tell you what to wear, what to eat, what to like, you know. They speak for you. Like, you can see this often with boys especially, you know, that they really control them. And enmeshment is also very, very common in, like, Asian, Indian households, because the other culture is just very, very enmeshing, because it's basically that you have not, you don't have the right to, like, say what you want and what you don't want. Yeah, and so the moms, why they do it is because often they feel really bad in the relationship. They feel also abandoned by the dad, and they kind of, like, misuse you as their best friend a little bit, you know. And they try to also maybe control you a little bit because they feel very powerless. And then, of course, I'm very much generalizing here, but I would say that you could say that that's a common pattern that happens in households. And yeah, so it's absolutely possible that you have both traumas and also to different variations and different degrees. Sometimes it can also happen that one person is abandoning you and enmeshing you at the same time. So and both of these, also what they have in common is that the person that is doing this with you or to you is not attuned to you. Like, they have no freaking idea what's happening inside of you. Attunement means that you feel what the other person is feeling. So, for example, for me, it is so weird how someone could not notice that their kid actually feels horrible about that you are constantly coming into their room or something. Yeah, but I mean, of course, that has many reasons, and I don't want to shame anyone, because we do this because we are unconscious and we are very traumatized, and often parents, I mean, they basically just repeat what they've learned. So, but like, as soon as you get attuned with someone, that helps you to not do this to other people. That's why I would always I teach everyone to just be the most attuned that you can, so that you notice when the energy of someone is shifting, and then you can realize that you're doing something bad to someone. Yeah. So, and yeah, and so and also, what you said with abandonment and enmeshment, like, you don't want to be completely alone, but you don't want to be suffocated by people. Yes, I also don't want those two things, definitely. But it doesn't have to be like this. You don't, like, relationships don't mean that you automatically get enmeshed. You can also have relationships where you can be connected, but you can have your boundaries. You can say, hey, at the moment I don't want this. Or, as I said, when the other person is attuned to you, they will know when something is too much for you. And I think that both abandonment and enmeshment victims are actually afraid of connection, because even someone that is, like, often people that have suffered from abandonment trauma actually have a really hard time letting connection in, because imagine finally you get a connection and then they leave again. Like, that's so scary, so freaking scary. So yeah, I hope I could answer this question a little bit for you. Okay, I think there was one more question, but just maybe in between. So yeah, hey, super cool, all of the guys who have you. Electromantis said, wow, that's great, man, I'm jealous.
Some of my praying mantis.
I send my love to everyone. Yes, and love to you too.
I think there's one left.
How do you guys deal when one or both of you are triggered? How do you deal, Matt, when I trigger you?
I communicate that I'm being triggered, or you're triggering me, I guess. Communication is probably the main thing. Let the other person know that you're feeling triggered or they're triggering you. It's probably something good to do. Yeah, communicate it. Yeah, otherwise the person might not know. Might be like, why are you acting strange and stuff like this? And yeah.
Hi, Liberation Nutrition. Yeah, so I mean, I think that understanding what triggers are is probably like the best thing you can do for your relationship. The best thing. Because when you are overreacting, or when you feel like you're overreacting, it's always because of a trigger. And I think that so many fights are actually about a trigger. So it means that, let's say you leave the wet towel on the floor and your partner starts to have a tantrum about it, and you start to argue about the towel. You will never go somewhere, because you just feel like that person is absolutely shaming you for not doing like a really bad thing. The other person will just feel really bad, because you don't understand that it's not about the wet towel. It's what the wet towel means to that person. The wet towel means, because of a trauma, for example, you don't value me. You think just because I'm a man or I'm a woman, I'm supposed to clean up after you. That's what it means. So when you realize what triggers are, you learn to ask questions. Hey, what's really going on here? What what is the wet towel? And of course you don't say, oh, why are you like, what does the wet towel mean again? Not like this, but try to bring it to a vulnerable level and say, hey, I feel like a trigger is happening right now. Yeah. And just to be clear, you know, like we still have fights where we start shaming each other. Definitely. And especially me in the beginning, I had a really hard time because I have this thing, like immediately when I go into a fight, I start to like get so defensive, and I almost kind of like threaten with leaving, or you know, I go away or something, and I actually push you away like really heavily. And that is something that I really need to learn, because I get so afraid when we are starting to have a fight. I immediately think that person is going to leave me immediately. Like that's such a quick reaction for me. And yeah, and then I'm still, you know, being mean. I can become really, really aggressive and mean, and yeah, and but I feel like slowly, more and more, like what now, for example, now I think we had a situation when I was quite stressed, and then I realized that because Matt changes his tone a little bit and he's more asking a question, so like, hey, I feel like you're doing this and this, and then more and more I can become more vulnerable. So it's actually about becoming vulnerable in that moment, and like turning the conversation towards vulnerability instead of shame and blame, and then that happens. And of course, like that's the best, because when you can then talk about the real trigger, you know, for example, with the example what I said, when you can say, when you leave the towel on the floor, it makes me feel like I'm not valuable as a person, or you know, I'm just your cleaner or something. You can say, wow, like this is how you felt in your childhood. Wow, that's like so intense, you know. And then you can talk about this, and then usually afterwards you feel really, really connected, which is beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, oh, you guys. Yes, I think we are coming to the end. Wow, we did this for 1 hour, didn't I? I think I talked a lot. Oh my gosh. There was Veronica's lecture today. As promised, we have a little special thing. Before, maybe I'll show again. We showed you this. It's Matt's
beautiful vision board.
Yes.
Yes, I like horses and nature.
Exactly. And naked men.
And naked men on the beach.
And here, letting your soft side show makes you a strong man. And eat more plants. And then this is my vision board, and I actually turned it into a book. Yes. Oh, this is not part of it. Yeah. Yeah, so very important is emotional openness, priestess temple, abundance, all these beautiful things. Yeah, and this was when I took note for the completion process training. Very nice. Very nice. Maybe when I'm famous in 20 years, someone will buy this on eBay for 50,000 euros.
Yeah. Nice. Some good stuff in here.
So, yeah, guys, I think we're slowly gonna end this. I hope you had a really good time with us. We really enjoyed having you. All the best to you.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Yes. How are you feeling, Matt?
I'm okay.
He's wearing his new beautiful pullover. It looks so good, and your hair looks so beautiful.
I feel okay. I feel like I'm a bit too quiet, like I just sit here.
No, you did. You were the host asking the questions, holding the space.
Holding the space.
Yeah, very important role.
Exactly.
Yeah. During the completion process training, there was Graciela, which is the friend of Teal, and she was just holding the space there. You know, she was there with her beautiful energy, holding space for us, and I could really feel it. So it's a very important role to have. It is.
Next time I come on, I wear like a badge saying Chief Space Holder.
Exactly.
Yeah. And
Julie says, you guys are so great. Thank you. You too. And once again, can you please give me a like? It would be so good. You know, guys, how it works on YouTube is that with likes and comments, all the content gets pushed like up. And for small channels, it's really hard in the beginning to like get noticed, but like only this where we can spread this awareness and the information about these topics. And you know, guys, it's so important right now that humanity wakes up, because the way we are living is horrible. We are just living from our traumas. So it'd be really, really super cool if you could support me in that. Anelot says, thanks. Loved listening to you. So many similarities. I think you should meet. Yes, we can. She lives in Utrecht, you know.
Cool.
Yes, Anelot lives in Utrecht, which is just half an hour away from us in Amsterdam. Yeah, we should try to do this. We could like take a nice walk, and we actually have not been to Utrecht, so.
I think I've been there.
Okay, I have not been there, so I would love to go.
Cool.
Yes. Okay. All the best to you.
Awesome.
Oh, so many likes. Thank you guys so much. That's beautiful.
Cool.
Love all of you.
Alright, guys, enjoy your days, evenings, all these things.
Cool.
Bye.
Thanks for participating. Nice having you. Bye bye.
Yeah.